Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to open this session, and it's a pleasure to welcome such a big crowd of friends and business colleagues for the 72nd IREPAS meeting. It's something that I was not prepared or not ready to talk about it, but it's I want to talk about how beautiful is the room today here. It's probably the most beautiful room I've ever been in a conference. So I guess that is going to help us to be optimistic and keep our expectations high for the meeting. IREPAS has taken us to the beautiful city of Paris. Paris is so-called the city of lights. And for the number of people I see in the room, that's obviously a proof of how attractive is Paris as a visiting place. I guess that probably a few of you have been pushed by your wives or husbands or partners to participate in IREPAS just for the joy of coming together with you and enjoy the city of Paris and enjoy visiting the city. I want to tell you, as we are in Paris, I want to tell you a few just figures and historic data about Paris. Paris is the urban area in Europe with the highest population. It's about 11 million people, or what is the same, the 20% of the population of France is living in the area. And also as a visiting place, Paris receives 30 million visitors every year. Paris was founded in the 3rd century before Christ by a Celtic tribe called the Parisi. But the original name of Paris was Lutetia, and that is a name that probably sounds familiar to you if you are a fan reader of Asterix the Gaul, as I am. The original settlement was at the Ile de la Cité. This is where today the Cathedral of Notre Dame stands, and stayed in that place for a few centuries until Julius Caesar came on 53 before Christ. And expanded the city. And obviously, I have to say that being part of the Steel community, I think we feel lifted up in a city where its main icon is a tower built in 7,200 tons of steel, Eiffel Tower. Eiffel Tower was built in a bit more than 2 years, and that was, the reason was the World Fair of 1889. And what I've learned is that the tower was originally built and intended to be dismantled after the fair and converted into scrap. So probably what happened was that the guys, they did not receive the right bit, and they decided to hold for the right one, and until today. So maybe someone in the room, one of our colleagues, scrap dealers, they want to try and see if they can get it. Also as a number, Eiffel Tower receives 7 million visitors every year, and is, after Disneyland, Paris is the most visited place in Paris, in the city. Okay, now let's talk a bit about world economy, main points of interest for us, and we'll try to get a global picture that after will be expanded by our guest speakers. At this point, U.S. economy still remains a bright spot. Recent data show that the labor market in U.S. is showing good performance. Unemployment is down to 5.5%, which is a fantastic figure. Is I guess a top figure. And what is happening with that is that this is improving consumer confidence and consumer demand, which probably will offset some doubts that are coming these days with the effects of a strong dollar to the economy, and also the slowdown in states that are basically relying on oil industry. If we stay in America, on the other hand, and we see a slowdown in a big economy in the south like Brazil, but on that area, countries like Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, or Mexico keep performing very well. So I think that if we talk globally about Americas, we can still say that the performance is reasonable, is healthy. Okay, now let's move let's move to the European Union. The growth in UE has been recently revised up from 1 to 1.5% in 2015. And there are a few factors that are helping this improvement. One factor is the low euro. That obviously low euro is making more competitive industries in Europe and is generating more business for European-based companies. The second factor, a big factor, important factor, is Europe being a heavy importer of oil. I think that among the big countries in Europe, Germany, Spain, France, Italy, Belgium, and Holland, they import like 10 million barrels a day. So obviously, if the price of oil reduces, that helps companies to reduce cost. And also, that puts more money in the pocket of every European. There is a rough calculation saying that with the drop of the oil price from the peak at 110, 120 to now 60, you can call 55, 60, that means about 600 euros a year for every European. And I think this is significant money. That what it's creating is, that circumstance, what it's creating is what is so-called a beneficial deflation, with in fact what is not bad, because it's increasing the real income for people and companies. And the third point that is helping the economy in Europe is obviously the BC program QE. That is easing the credit for companies, and this is maintaining low interest rates in Europe. All that is boosting consumer confidence in Europe and is helping more improvement. Just as a reference, car sales for February 15 were up in the whole European Union 7.3%, and as main countries, Germany was up 4.6%, Italy 12.3%, and Spain a very significant 26.7%. This is year-to-year figures. Okay, let's move that to Asia as an important area, economic area in the world. Asia is keeping a strong economic performance, and China is expected to grow like 7%, thanks to measures implemented by Chinese officials. The only weak point in that economy now appears to be property market, which is showing really weakness. On that point, Chinese officials are preparing a stimulus plan in infrastructure, and just as an example of how big, we all know that the numbers in China, they are very big. They are incorporating the construction of 2,800 airports in its 2016-2020 plan that will be approved next year, amongst many other infrastructure projects. In that area of the world, India also is expected to play a very significant role in terms of the growth of the area. Okay, if we now talk about oil-producing countries, some of them are facing the effects in their economy of the drop of the oil price. But I think that the majority, the main markets in the Gulf area are maintaining a very good level of activity in spite of that. So we can say that the global picture in terms of economy is showing opportunities as markets will grow, and I think that this is good news for everyone. Okay, if now we take our focus into the long products, I would say that, and just to put it nice, the markets are very demanding these days. What are our main headaches in long product market? Well, our main headache is overcapacity. Overcapacity is the main one, and the big part of that is coming from China. It appears today that Chinese officials will force the less efficient mills to close. I mean, if you talk to people in that area, or if you travel to that area, you see a lot of talks about Chinese mills losing money. at the level of price they are selling. For instance, rebars today, they say, no, we are losing like 30, 40 euros per ton. So it appears that at some point, the government, local governments will force more inefficient mills to close. And also, it's like a new level of sensibility these days in China about pollution. So also, Chinese officials are considering to put more demanding requirements in terms of anti-pollution systems, so some of the mills will be forced to close down. But about that, this is not very precise plan or information. So it's just something that it may happen or it can happen, but nobody knows how and when. Also, Europe and Turkey need to deal these days with existing capacity in a period of low domestic demand in terms of Europe, although it's increasing, but still low domestic demand, and difficult export markets. I can tell you that in Europe, capacity closures has happened and will happen, and that's a fact, and that's an option, and that's going to happen. I think that the second relevant imbalance that is giving us headaches is the gap between iron ore and scrap price. Although in recent days, in recent times, this gap has been closing down, we still think that that needs to carry on. That needs to continue, especially with what has been happening in terms of price to scrap and iron ore in the last recent days. As in every IREPAS, SteelOrbis has prepared the best team of world experts to help us to understand what is going on. I want to thank you, all of them, to come here and to accept our invitation, and be ready to enjoy deep and very interesting speeches and presentations. Something that we encourage every IREPAS, in IREPAS we want to be the forum where all these relevant issues affecting our industry can be put on the table and discussed. So we definitely will encourage you to be a participant and to be active in all the sessions and committees. Don't be shy, just ask all the questions you want and express all the ideas you want. That's the reason for this meeting. Okay, and now, ladies and gentlemen, I only wish that you make the most of the gathering. Enjoy the fantastic program that SteelOrbis has been preparing for us. Enjoy the beautiful city of Paris, and thank you very much for being here. Thank you.